Hello everybody and welcome to this MagiCAD for AutoCAD Ventilation and Piping New Features webinar. My name is Tommi Piittola and I'm from Finland, Tampere to be exact, and I will be presenting the new features of MagiCAD for AutoCAD today. And I've worked almost 10 years now with MagiCAD for AutoCAD and maybe 5 years with MagiCAD for Revit. And agenda, of course, is to gather all the new features of MagiCAD for AutoCAD today. And the features we are going to look today are listed in here. So we have a new wizard for creating a project, different tools for batch processing. I will be explaining them better soon. And then we have these kind of early phase manifold calculations and also improvements for our legend tool and calculation report. And then last but not the least, we have this new find and replace for different text, MagiCAD texts. So that's also quite handy tool. And during this webinar, I can't hear what you are talking or doing, so you might not want to ask anything using your microphone, but you can write your question to the chat screen that you should see in right side of your screen. So you can type the message there and I will read your questions and answer after the webinar. And the webinar lasts maybe half an hour to 1 hour, so I will covering all the features and then of course I won't keep you longer than that. Okay, but yeah, let's start this webinar. And as you can see, I'm using AutoCAD 2017 and the latest MagiCAD 2016.11. And I have already made some project, so I don't have to draw everything from the start point. So hopefully you can see my screen and hear me also, so it is much easier to follow what I'm doing. Okay, but first let's start with this new project wizard that we are been doing for a while now. So basically what it means is that if you are a new user of MagiCAD, and why not experienced user also, you can use this project wizard nowadays. And it means that when you start AutoCAD, you don't have any MagiCAD project or anything. You just start new AutoCAD drawing. Before, when you click this MagiCAD project button, it asks you to save your drawing. But nowadays, when you haven't saved your drawings and you click the project button, you get this kind of project wizard dialog. So if you sometimes get this, don't wonder what it is. Is it? And if you have already saved your drawing before clicking the project button, you don't even get this project wizard. Then you just can you can create your project like earlier. But in this project wizard, we have two different options. We have standard and user defined. And this standard basically means that you don't give any other information than project name and the location of your project. So let's say that I'm creating a new project which is called like project 123. And the location of my project files will be my C folder. and I want to create a folder for my project. So what MagiCAD now does is when I click finish, it automatically creates different folders and different drawings to this project. So as you can see now, it's starting to create the DVG files. So it basically creates ventilation, heating, piping, sewage, sprinkler, and electrical drawings. Of course, you don't have to use them all, but this is what you get. So it automatically creates your project folder and different DVG files. And after it is finished, this one of these DVG files will be active. Now it's ventilation storage 0. And actually now when I'm going to my project, you can see that I have project 1, 2, 3, and I have different stories in there, and also different model drawings in my model drawing list. So this makes it easier to define project when you are, at least when you haven't used MagiCAD before. And if I just quickly show you in my C folder, from there and see here, I should have this project 1, 2, 3, and as you can see, there is all the different folders for my different disciplines and also my project files. You still have to, of course, insert architectural drawings and everything, but this is only for creating MagiCAD project. The other option that you have is this user-defined. When you are using this user-defined, then you still have to give some name to your project, the location, and if you want to create a folder or not. But then you don't have this finish option. You have to go to the next page, and then you can actually define that which template you want to use. You can use our ready-made templates for different market areas like Finland and Sweden and Turkey and Denmark and China, and when I select some, for example, this common, it means that I have this English version of MagiCAD project. So everything will be in English language, and all the devices and pipe series will be coming from our common template. Then you can select whether you want to get the ventilation and piping project or electrical or both of them. Now I'm selecting only ventilation and piping, and then I can select also my drawing template and my project template files from here. Now when I have selected the common template from here, it automatically selects this common template, drawing template and MagiCAD project template, as you can see in here. But you can still change them if you like. If you have some old project template that you want to use, you can select them from here. And then when you click next, you can give the project information, and then you can select which kind of folders are created for this project. And by default, MagiCAD wants to add all the different folders for disciplines. So ventilation, heating, cooling, domestic water, sewage or drainage, and sprinkler and electrical. And you can disable them. Select, for example, I only want ventilation and heating and cooling folders. Or you can remove all of these and create your own folder for different name, for example. And then when you take next, you can define stories for your project. There are 4 different stories by default, and you can see the set value in here and your slab thickness also. You can change these settings as you wish. And then last thing is the model drawing list. So basically here you can select your DVG file names and which folders are they belonging and which is the active storage of them. So for example, if I have ventilation and first story, I can name it like this, select that it belongs to ventilation folder, and the active storage for ventilation first story should be story 1. Then I can add new one, rename it like for example second story, ventilation, and active storage should be story 2. Also I can make like heating first story and say that it belongs to the heating and cooling folder, and the active storage should be story 1, like this. And then when I'm ready, I have created all my drawings, I click finish, and again MagiCAD create those different DVG files and also the project files. So now, as you can see, I have active stories, ventilation, first story. And if I go to the project management, can see that in model drawing list I have only these 3 DVG files that I just create. And if I now go to open, and I will go to my C folder, check the project 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that I have 2 folders in here, and I can open, for example, heating and cooling first story. And still in the project management, everything is like they should be. So active story is story 1, and I'm ready to draw my heating and piping. Yeah, so this is one thing that we have created, which is quite good to know, at least if you are not so experienced with MagiCAD. And the second thing that I want to show you is those different batch processing things that we have done. So why we have done this is basically because of the IFC export. So if you are using IFC export and you have large project, for example, you have noticed that when you are creating IFC export, it might take quite long time to create those IFC files, and then you can't do any other work while you are creating those IFC files. So that's why we have created this kind of patch export for IFC. So basically this means that you can make different schedules that IFC files are, for example, they are created in night time or in the evening time when you are not at the office. So you can basically automatically tell Windows to open AutoCAD 17 and open different MagiCAD drawings and then run the IFC export for selected drawings. And I'm not going to go into the details in this webinar, but if you want to know more about this IFC scheduling, you can read it from for example, from our manuals. And now when I'm talking about manuals, we have also created this kind of new online help, and then we have also these basic PDF files for ventilation, piping, and common section in here. So we have own button in our repo nowadays, and this online help just means that when you click it, it goes to your internet browser and opens our selected user guide. Now, because I'm using ventilation and piping, it shows me the ventilation and piping user guide. And if you select here common, and here is IFC export, for example, you can see that there are plenty of information of batch scheduling of the IFC export. So here you have different instructions how to use this one and how you can actually create those schedules using Windows task scheduling or our Mackie launcher. And this online manual is also, we are getting different languages in here. As soon as we have ready for the translations, we are adding different countries in here, so you can actually select different languages if you don't prefer English or Finnish, or then you can change it. But now we only have English at the moment. In Revit side we already have 2 different languages, but in AutoCAD side they are just coming in future. Yeah, but a few more thing about this batch exporting. Because of this, we have also made a new options to our update drawing data, because if you are creating those IFC files automatically, you might want to update some data before or while doing the IFC export. And nowadays we have, if I click this update drawing data function, you can see that this dialog is looking a little bit different, and it is because we have added these selection sets to here, and also we have this object selection set in our dialog nowadays. So basically this means that if you want to update some data to more than only one to existing drawing, you can nowadays do it with this object selection set. For example, let's say that I have, for example, these flow dampers in my drawings. For example, I have them in many floors, not only this existing one. So I want to add some information, for example, this FD4 flow damper. So now when I'm go back to the project management, and I'm selecting the ducts, parts, and flow dampers, and I'm selecting this FD4 and double click it. And I want to add some product variable, for example, to this, and I write something like, for example, wheat flanges. I add some information to P1 variable, for example, and I click OK, close my project management. And now when I want to make sure that I update this information to all of my FD4 flow dampers, if I go and check my flow dampers now, part properties, by double clicking it, I can't see any P1 information in here. And that is because I haven't updated the information to the drawing. So now I can go to update drawing data. Then I can select, like in previous versions also, I have to select what to update. And now I want to update only product variables. And I want to update them in all of my ventilation drawing, for example. So I can select these selected drawings, and here I can select that only update in my ventilation drawings. So as you can see, this is showing all the drawings that are attached to the same project and can be found in model drawing list. So if I now select that I want to update all my ventilation drawings and product variable, I can save this as a selection set to my project. So if I click save as and write like product variables, all ventilation, like this, I click OK, So now I have saved this selection set. So whenever ever I want to use the same settings, I can just select this selection set. For example, if I now click other options in here, and for example, current drawing only. So now when I want to go back to my product variables, I just select it from the selection list, and as you can see, only these options that I have selected to this selection set will be selected. So if you are updating some settings often, you might want to make this selection set so it makes it faster to update. And now when I click OK, I have selected all my ventilation drawing, product variables. MagiCAD actually opens those drawings that are not already opened and update the product variable and then close the drawing. And if I have already opened all my ventilation drawings, then of course this is much faster because MagiCAD don't have to open these DBG files. Yeah, like this. And now I'm back in my ventilation floor 1, and if I now double click this, you can see that this flow damper now has this P1 variable added. And same thing with all my ventilation drawings, not only this one. Yeah, but that basically what have been changed to update drawing data and also IFC export. And also in IFC export, we have added this update drawing data selection set. So you can actually select this if you want to update some information before creating the IFC file. You can select your update drawing data selection set to here also. And then if you are using those IFC patch export, you have to make your different selection set to here also. Here I have all ventilation, which means that only ventilation drawings are created when using this selection set. Yeah, and then next thing what we have changed is I just jumped to my different drawing, the same project but different drawing. We have actually changed a little bit this our manifold function. So I select the manifold, and this new thing is only for product-based manifold. So only this manufacturer and our generic, what we have modeled in here in the product, this is only working with this one, not with the generic one you can see in here. So if I select this product and I, for example, select that I want to use this kind of manifold. Nowadays I have this option to use manually given values. So this is the new thing, and if I click this or check this box, I can select the system which this manifold is belonging to. And I'm selecting, for example, floor heating. Now I can give the power or the pressure drop. I have to calculate all the networks that are attached into this manifold and give the total power and pressure drop. I can guess something, and for example, I put 2.5 kilowatts and pressure drop is something like 9.5 kilopascal, for example. And temperature difference is taken by the system, or I can use temperature difference and set it to here also. But now when I have selected these options, I click OK, I get my manifold, I can install it, for example, here to selected height level. And now MagiCAD actually creates the manifold, but now I'm not able to draw any circuit for this manifold. I can only draw these main pipes, as you can see in here. And if I now draw, for example, first supply pipe to there, and let's draw it, for example, to like this, and also the return pipe. Yeah, now it's the plastic pipe, but that is okay for now, like this. So what does this mean is that you can actually now calculate this size of the main pipes without actually drawing any circuits to the manifold. So I can run sizing to my floor heating, and you can see that this is the new pipe size for sizing method that I'm using, and for the PEX pipe, the plastic pipe. And whenever you want to change this, so that you actually want to draw the circuits, if you want to draw them at the some point, you can easily take the part properties from the manifold, and you can uncheck this, use manually given values. And when you uncheck this one, you can see that now you have all the open ends for the circuit of the manifold, and you can actually draw the circuits to the drawing. And then after calculation, of course, it is using the information of the circuits for calculating the pipe sizes. And again, you can take the part properties from the manifold, and you can again check this box and give these values if you would like to use them instead. Yeah, but that's one thing that we have changed that you might need at some project when you are creating just some early phase calculations and want to know what kind of pipe sizes you would have with different manifolds and different powers. And then let's jump to our improved legend tool. So if you haven't used our legend or report templates before, they can be found in our project management, or the settings can be edited from the project management. Here you can see that we have this legend and report templates. And these are basically a little bit same thing that our bill of materials or quantity list that we always have in MagiCAD, but these are, you can freely adjust, and you can add different options that you want to show in this list. So you can basically modify these templates. You can't modify our old bill of material list, but with this you can make the modifications. So basically now we have updated this legend template. So if you haven't used this one, for example, I can show you, for example, these sprinkles, that what I mean. We have this legend. I will create a new legend, and I want to use my sprinkle list, and I can select again different option, object selection set. So if I only want the current drawing to be listed, I select the current drawing. I can select also the selected drawings or all products from the project. Now I'm using the current drawing. I just show you that what this means. So now I get this list. I can add it anywhere I want, for example there, and you can see that now I have selected to this legend that it will show my sprinkle symbol, the description of the sprinkler, and then the K value of the sprinkler. And this is fully updatable, first of all. So if something is changing in the drawing, I can update this legend, or if I'm changing the these values inside of my legend, also then I can update this. And what I mean about that is, if I go to the project management again, I go to the legend template, select the sprinkle list, double click it. If I now want to add, this is actually new thing. So if I select this part identification, I can nowadays select this number of similar also to legend tool. So if I now select this number of similar and move it to my available to my property list and select that the length of this should be 10 and header, so the name of this column I will put pieces. It goes to the last to my legend template. If I want to move this first or something, I can use this up and down functions from here. But now I just want to add this number of similar. I click OK, close. And now when I'm selecting legend and update legend and click this, you can see that now it is updated, and now it shows me that I have, for example, these backup sprinklers. I have 2 of them in this drawing, and I have 2 different kind of upward sprinkler with different K values, and you can see the symbol difference, and both of them I have 27. And like I said, if I change something in my drawing, for example, I'm adding new sprinkler or I'm removing, for example, these sprinkles in my drawing, those were sprinkled down, I think. So now when I'm updating my legend, I have 6 of those. Now I have only 3 of those. So this is quite handy. You can basically do different kind of, not only with sprinkle, of course, you can use it for ventilation and piping and stuff like that. And yeah, you can basically create different lists about your water and sewer devices, A devices, and stuff like that. And I will just show you the ventilation drawing. If I want to again create the legend, I select all the A devices, and now if I select the current drawing or all products from the project, if I first select the current drawing, you can see that the list have 3 different A devices in this drawing. And now with this listing, I have only picture of them, code, and product name. And I can also, in the legend templates, I can also select this kind of real 3D image if I want. Like this, I just give that this is 3D image, and I want it to be the first one in the list. I close this, and then I update my legend. And you can see that now I got the 3D picture of my device also. And then you can have this kind of different layouts for example, here you can zoom your drawing to get only like the A device list or something like this. You could have own layout for this. Yeah, so this is quite handy in different cases. I have seen that people are using some manual AutoCAD functions to create those kind of memo lists next to drawing, so you can actually use those MagiCAD functions, and they are much more easier to update. Yeah, but let's jump to the next thing, which is improved calculation report. So one thing that we have added now to our calculations is those kind of node numbers, not only for sprinkler but also for ventilation and heating and piping and other stuff also. So when I'm calculating, for example, I'm sizing my ventilation. For example, let's take ductworks and supply 1, let's show the calculation report. When I'm calculating my ventilation network, you can see that there are these node numbers for different parts of my ventilation network. And you can use this. If I now click OK, update to model, I get these model numbers, node numbers also to my drawing. It takes a while to update, quite large network totally when I have 5 different stories. Like this. So now if I want to actually see the node numbers in my drawings, I can use this annotation, and there we have this show node number, hide node number, and reset node numbers. If I click show node numbers and then I select that I want to show the node numbers to whole drawing, enter, you can see that I get this node number to all of those devices and T branches or outlets. And then it might be easier to like check the node number 99. If I now go to my sizing list and I check that here I should have somewhere 99 node number. So now I know exactly what device this is here. Of course, I can take right click and highlight in the drawing when I'm at the same drawing that this device is, and I can see the device also with this function. But yeah, that is something that we have done because some customers have asked this feature. Also in our we have also improved some of our, when you are printing out the report list. Nowadays you can also in project management and for your project settings, when you fill out your project information in here, you can also select your company's logo if you want. And if I now select, for example, Brockman logo to here and close this, and now when I'm actually making the calculation so that I show the calculation report, and now I take the edit and print it to PDF file. Yeah, and let's take it, let's save it to the desktop. And you can see that this logo is coming to here in this report list also. And also this is also always changing if you are running calculations to heating and piping or other disciplines. This will be changing also. And you get all the information that you have filled out to your project management, you can get them to this list also. And then there are all the calculation information to be seen also, of course. Yep, so that a few improvements to our reporting. And then the last thing basically for 2016.11 is find and replacing the text. So if you have added free text or manual text, or you have used this, for example, this user var variables, you have used this for some devices, and you want to search some text or search and replace text, you can use a new function which can be found under the text. And here you can see that we have added this find and replace text. How is this working is that when you start this function, you get this dialog, and here you can select the properties to change. If you want to, for example, search some free text, you know that you have added some free text to in this drawing, but you have so large drawing that it is hard to find it. You can select the free text, and you can write the word or part of the word that you have added to your drawing. For example, let's say that I want to find all the free text which includes the word insu. I don't want to replace, I just want to find this one. And then I have different options. I have match case and find the whole words only. Match case means that if it can find the word which includes these letters, then it shows them. Find whole words means that it has to be own word, this insu. So if I now, so I select this find whole words only, current drawing, free text, it says that nothing was found. But now when I'm selecting match case, okay, now it says that it can found one free text which includes insu, and the text are all ducts in the first floor ceiling should be insulated and thermal insulation. So it can find this insu letters, so it shows that it can find it. And now I can right click and click this zoom function, and you can see that now it shows me that there is my free text that includes the word insu. You can also find and replace. So if for example, let's say that I have more than only one free text in here with the same information, and I want to replace, for example, this 50 millimeters to 100 millimeters, I can take this find and replace text, and then I write that 50 millimeters and I want to replace it with 100 millimeters. And again, I can use the find whole words only or match case. This should be working in both options because that is the whole word 50 millimeters. So if I take the find whole words only and current drawing, I click OK. It takes a little while, and now it says that 4 free text will be replaced. And here is the old text 50 millimeters, and here is the new text. And as you can see, all of these free texts have been changed. So you can use this in different way. Also, if you know that you have used this user var1 value, for example, for some devices, and you want to search them, you can use also this one. So if I now, let's say that I want to find Colibri, and let's say that all the part description user var 1, 2, 3, 4 or object ID, if it includes the word Colibri, I want to find it from the current drawing. And now it actually didn't find anything, and why is because this Colibri is actually written with the capital letter, so it actually knows. And now I get this information that I have one device with this kind of user var1 value. Again, I can zoom it, and this is floating dialog, so basically I can go to this in this drawing and still this dialog will be held open, because if you have more than one, then you can easily go and zoom then one by one if you want. So you can replace also those values if you like. Yes, but that is actually all the new functions that we have made from 2016.4 to 2016.11. So basically half of the year is when the new version is released. So this one was the new features of the latest MagiCAD versions. And I will just check if you have added any questions. It actually, at least my question list seems to be empty, so I think that I'm ready and I don't have any other issues that I want to share with you at this point, so let's continue our daily working, and I will thank you for participating to this webinar, and hopefully we will see in next coming webinars also. Yeah, thank you and bye bye.